Welcome back to the main event, fight fans.
I think you knocked everybody out with that one, man.
Did I knock them all out?
I think they're all out. They probably already left.
You got 2 fists and a heartbeat, you can take anyone out.
So we are reviewing a movie that I never in my life thought would ever exist. I never thought about it. I never thought about it existing. And it exists. It's called Creed.
Well, I don't know if I never thought this would exist, but this is definitely something I was totally looking forward to, because as soon as I heard that they were going to make a spin-off of Rocky, I was like, that could be interesting. And then they said it was going to be about Apollo Creed's kid, and I thought, wow, that could be really interesting. And then I heard Sylvester Stallone was going to be in this movie, and I was hooked.
So growing up, there's been several movies that's been so inspirational to me. And of course, Star Wars is one. And then we have the whole Indiana Jones trilogy is one. The Mad Max trilogy, or franchise, I should say, is one of them. And Rambo franchise, and of course, the Rocky franchise. I mean, growing up, when we had Rocky movies like every other year, it was a spectacular thing.
Yeah, I was going to say the same exact thing. Rocky, the whole Rocky series, the whole Rocky franchise is something I grew up with and has always been a really inspirational series for myself as well.
You know what it is, Vince, is that every one of these movies, except for maybe Rocky V, was spectacular. There wasn't almost no weak links in any of these films. Every film you go see was better than the next one.
Exactly. And I actually enjoyed Rocky V.
And when we get to Creed now, I never thought that they would make a spinoff of Creed's son. You know, I literally thought Rocky Balboa was the last Rocky movie. And if it had been the last Rocky movie, I would be perfectly fine with that. I had no problem with it. Because it was such an incredible film. And I think it should have been up for an Oscar for best, not just best movie, but I think Stallone should have been nominated for an Oscar. I think he should have got an Academy Award nomination for that. He was so good in it. And
a lot of people forget that Rocky 1, it was up for Best Picture and it won. And a lot of people forget that. But they always look at the Rocky films as being more of an action film than the dramatic film that it started out being. And actually, there's action in the pictures, but there is more drama than it is action.
Especially in Creed. Creed is much more of a drama than an action film. It actually sort of goes back to Rocky 1. You know, it's more or less about the characters and not so much about the big show like Rocky 3 was or Rocky 4. You know, it gets back to what made the first Rocky movie so good.
You know something? When I first heard that Sylvester Stallone was going to be in this and playing Rocky, I figured, okay, well, they're probably going to put him in there a few scenes or something. And then I heard that he was actually going to be Rocky Balboa, that he was going to be in the movie. I was like, okay, cool. And that he would be training Apollo Creed's son. I thought, okay, well, wait a second. They kind of did that already with Rocky V, where he was training somebody. And obviously that one is like the one that most people hate out of the Rocky series. You know, this didn't work out so well the first time is what I'm saying. But in here, fantastic. It's totally fantastic.
And somebody on Facebook, a friend of mine on Facebook, was asking me that exact thing. He's like, well, how much of Rocky is actually in this movie? Is he only in it for like 5 or 10 minutes? Does he like walk in the room and say something and walk out? No, I would say it's half Rocky. I mean, he's in the film for more than the entire film.
Yeah, I'd say at least 85% of it.
I don't even know if people know that. They probably think that, oh, well, it's about Creed and Rocky might make an appearance. No, it's as much Rocky story as it is Creed story in this movie.
I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. It is so freaking fantastic. I love this movie as much as I loved Rocky Balboa. I loved it as much as I loved the first Rocky movie. I loved it as much as I loved the Rocky series. I mean, it was fantastic. The acting is spectacular. The fight scenes are incredible. The training scenes are incredible. Is what Rocky V probably should have been.
I completely agree. Again, I think he should be up for an Academy Award for this film. I thought he was that good in this film.
I think the whole movie should be up for Academy Award.
And also, what I loved about this film is all the references to the other films. They didn't just throw off the other movies. I mean, they referenced Rocky V. They talked about Rocky III. They talked about Rocky IV. I mean, they referenced all these characters and even Paulie and all that stuff. And to tell you the truth, you know, a lot of this film gets very emotional. It's a very emotional film, along with being really funny and, of course, action-packed and a great. It has everything in it.
Exactly. I was going to say that same exact thing. He made sure that it all connected to the Rocky series. So even though it is literally a spin-off of the Rocky series, but, you know, he made sure that it was part of Rocky as well at the same time.
Really hard for me to explain what this movie means to me because of me basically growing up with Rocky. I mean, like I said, we were teenagers and it was so inspirational, and it's still inspirational all these years later. And this movie is just the bomb!
And I would agree with that. I mean, the whole Rocky series was always inspirational for me, and I think that's why I like those movies more than the other ones, because of the inspirational parts in it. I love the whole idea, them showing you what keeps Rocky going, and even in here, it relates to Creed. And this movie is just well acted. It's well done. It's well directed. I mean, this is an awesome, awesome, awesome film. I had so much fun. I was clapping and cheering, and the only thing I have left to give it is the ball!